Order to show Commissioner Jones absent. Please join me for the pledge and the prayer. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which they stand, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, I ask that you please watch over these proceedings and to help us and guide us through to do the work for Fremont County. Give us the wisdom and knowledge to understand our duties. And we ask that you please watch over our military and our first responders and keep them in a safe manner. In Jesus' holy name, amen.
Amen.
agenda.
Added, Sage Groff at 10:15 for an update of personnel.
Commissioners, changes? What's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, move to approve the agenda with change.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda with changes, with the change. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We have minutes.
Mr. Chairman, move approval of minutes.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from December 16th. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have a stack of bills.
Mr. Chairman, move approval of bills.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve payment of those bills. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We do have Title 25 bills.
Yes, we do, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we pay claimants, Fremont Counseling Service in the amount of $4,600 and Cloud Peak Counseling Center in the amount of $4,225. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve payment of those Title 25 bills as mentioned in the motion. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Signature file.
Chairman, we first have the official newspaper and depository. So we're going to do that now. Make a motion to designate the following depositories for Fremont County government for 2026. DuBois, Bank of Jackson Hole and Wyoming Community Bank, Lander, BMO Bank, Central Bank of Trust, and State Bank and Wyoming Community Bank, Riverton, BMO Bank, Central Bank of Trust, First Interstate Bank, US Bank, Wells Fargo Bank and Wyoming Community Bank, and Fort Washakie Central Bank of Trust. Official newspapers designate the Riverton Ranger, Lander Journal, and Provincial County newspaper for Fremont County government for 2026, with the remaining newspapers within the county to be used for other purposes. Motion for approval.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the
Official newspapers and
official depositories and the official newspapers. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
certified resolution 2026-01. This is regards to all the investment for qualifying financial institutions in Fremont County, Wyoming. This is hereby certified that the meeting of the Board of Commissioners held at Fremont County Courthouse, Lander, Wyoming, on the 6th of January 26th, at which meeting quorum was present. And this is to adopt this certified resolution 2026-01. I guess for these depositories. Motion to approve.
Second.
Moving the second to approve resolution 2026-01. Financial institutions,
Just go there. Don't do those.
you didn't read them.
No.
Okay.
BMO Bank, BNP, Paribas Security Corp., Central Bank and Trust, Citibank, Edward Jones, First Interstate Bank Financial Services Group, LPL Financial, Meter Investment Management, Norton Asset Management, Multi-Bank Securities Incorporated, Mutual Securities Incorporated, National Financial Services LLC, Peak Investment Management, Pershing, Public Asset Management Group, RBC Capital Marketing Corp., RBC Wealth Management, Robert W. Baird and Company Incorporated, Sigma Financial Corporation, State Farm Bank, U.S. Financial Services Incorporated, U.S. Bank National Association, Vincent Financial Services, Wells Fargo Bank, Wells Fargo Brokerage Services, LLC, Wyoming Community Bank, Wildstar, Wildstar 2, Wyoming Cooperative Liquid Assets, Security Systems, Wyoming Government Investment Pool, Wyoming Money Market Fund, First Citizens Bank, BNY Mellon. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Resolution number 2026-02. Resolution authorizing the release of monies prior to each county payroll distribution via direct deposit. Motion for approval for resolution 2026-02.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2026-02. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
This is a Bureau of Land Management, Nathan located. It goes, there's 2 copies of the unsigned right-of-way grant. Serial number, WIWI 106718619. And for the access road to the Heritage Trails, rail to trails. And then also agreed terms and conditions of the grant. Motion to approve this. It was okay by Nathan. It's on this application for the right of way and temporary use permit.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Been moved and seconded to approve contract or agreement between the BLM, Bureau of Land Management, and Fremont County, specifically for the access road to the Heritage Trail, rails to trails. Billy, do you have anything more? And Steve?
Commissioners, this was a request that's been on the table for quite some time and it kind of got bogged down. We got it back kind of going in the right direction. It's really for the use of about a quarter mile of an existing access road and then the creation of a new 250-foot or so section of 25-foot wide 2-track road to gain access essentially to the south side of the Poison Creek Bridge. There are some stipulations in this that require us to pay a little bit more attention, mostly no construction work until July or till August 1st, and then I think it has to stop November 15th or something like that. And there's some reclamation requirements, but otherwise I think it's pretty straightforward.
I mean, it's only 250 feet, correct?
Of new construction.
New.
Yeah.
Do we have to do any construction work on the existing?
I don't believe so. It's a pretty well used and traveled road. I think that the to the best of my knowledge, the rails trails people had been using it until there was an issue with one of the local landowners, and that precipitated this requirement for a different version of access.
Really?
Well said.
Ditto. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, this has been in the works for a couple of years or so, so glad it's finally there.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Approach to access application, permit ID number 2025-020A. Location property, Peterson Road. Name of applicant lettered weapons, 214 Peterson Road, Irvington, Wyoming. Motion to approve this approach access application.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve access location on Peterson Road. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
All of these will be meeting on, and so, this one's the, minor drug stake, at 9:30. Resolution 2025-03 hearing at 10 a.m. And then the Zoom meeting for the, meeting at 11. And then, also resolution 2026-04 meeting on this one at 11:45 a.m. You want to? Great. Last of all, Commissioner record of proceeding.
Okay, thank you. Already now.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Priority medal for January 6th, 2026. Resignation of the Planning Commission Secretary, TC Planning. Number 5 here is civil rights compliance. The Department of Audit, especially reporting complaints of the treasurer. Petition notice of intent to proceed, Mossberger CC with the WRAB law. Notice from Michael Fox of missing traffic signs and Shoshone CC transportation. And move update, 2nd Street Farm. Christmas card from the 4-H. And a monthly revenue report, commissioners and public health. That's already mailed.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
there's a couple of those I think that need some
right,
responses,
right.
probably.
Right. We need to do top three.
You want to do the top 3 too?
We needed to do.
Oh, okay, and I just did all the above.
Yeah, right, so this one here, we need to acknowledge that.
Okay. Also, Mr. Chairman, we have letters from Fair Board Megan Sims. Not reapplying, signatures are needed, and I signed those early this morning. Formal complaint with a billboard sign. And a letter on opiate settlement funds suggestions.
Okay, so,
Both of those need replies.
so
Need to act.
with the, I know we signed the Megan Sims's, letter or email and complained about the billboard. I know Megan, Emma had asked you to look at it, correct? What did you come up with?
What did I look at?
Bill.
The billboard.
Chairman,
Yes.
Chairman. I don't feel government has a, I mean, how can we regulate billboards when billboards or private entities of business in a sense of, I mean, is it
Right.
within is it within the city limits or is it in the county? And in that, we don't have anything, as I researched when I read about it, we don't have anything to regulate billboards.
No.
There is nothing in our codes or
It's up to the state.
to regulate any billboard that goes up. I think it's up to those entities who provide, I guess, the business they go to say, well, we allow this, we don't allow this, and that's on them, man. We as a county cannot regulate billboards.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I believe that's all under the state.
Yeah.
So there's no action that we should take,
Mr. Chairman,
but there's an acknowledgement.
I just assumed that we would check and make sure it wasn't county property to begin with. If it's on private property, I think that's pretty simple. It's the purview of the private landowner.
It is on private property. It's just right next to the highway. So I will write a brief response. And then the opioid settlement funds. Did you all read the email from,
Was that this letter?
Chairman,
I didn't like.
it
like
was,
Pages of stuff.
yeah, it was pretty lengthy.
So, Mr. Chairman, I did respond to that, just so you know, because I was asked why it wasn't on the budget hearing for today. And my response was, as I recall at this table, we talked about the K-9, we're gonna talk about here pretty soon, the K-9 and the VOA. I asked them if they wanted to have a projects line and add to that. My email that I got back was, we're not gonna do that right now, we'll figure that out later. I had not.
This
was.
was, a person sent a letter suggesting that we fund
Oh, okay.
ambulance
There's one
service.
Wasn't just.
We fund ambulance service,
Okay.
with the
With the
opioid
opioid.
funding.
Chairman.
Yes,
Yeah, the problem with that is that, when we're dealing with the opioid funds, it has to be
Right.
regulated in the sense that when we're funding it, ambulance service is used for everyone.
Right.
There is no real percentage, a high percentage to say that these many people were picked up based upon opiate use or opiate response or opiate treatment. So there's no way to regulate that, but there's no treatment that happens when they're transporting someone in the ambulance. The opiate settlement funds are about the issue of treatment, prevention, those areas, and it can't be used for the ambulance.
well, we ran into a similar deal when the ambulance in the emergency room physician at Sage West wrote a proposal to the opioid folks, asking them for heart monitors because, of course, they're used in an opioid crisis, but they, for the same reason, they would be used for everybody else as well. And so I will write a response telling that. I just got it last night, so I'll write a response to that as well. Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
yes.
Do we need to accept the resignation?
Uh,
Or just
No,
acknowledge?
just. Okay, public comment. Darla, no?
Hi.
Hi, please come up.
I wrote this down because I'm nervous, but,
So I'll remind you that we limit to 2 minutes.
I think
Okay,
that's it. Thank you.
okay, go ahead. And if you'd like to come up and use the microphone, so people can hear you. I have,
Okay,
I struggle with hearing, so.
I'm just very concerned about the library. The library board and the commissioners asked the community for input regarding dropping the ALA standards, the nationally recognized guidelines for public libraries. As you know, the vast majority of public opinion obtained over months supported maintaining the ALA guidelines and supported the leadership of our award-winning library director, Anita Merkel. The library board actions of dropping the ALA standards show they do not care about public opinion. They follow their own political and personal agendas. However, the library board is not an elected position. You, however, are elected to represent citizens of Fremont County and to support our local libraries. In the end, the buck stops with you. You, you appointed the library board members. You knew exactly who you were appointing. You appointed the Get Your Porn t-shirt wearer, Miss McClellan. Even though there were other very qualified applicants, you appointed the Mossberg couple, both of them with an obvious agenda to beat down Anita Markle and library staff with overbearing and oversight and unnecessary risks. You know, Mrs. Mossberg has a conflict of interest considering her membership with the WLA. You appointed a husband and wife on the library board, which you knew would stand in lockstep with each other. The unusual secretive way in which you appointed Mr. Mossberg came to light when you had to re-vote openly and he was replaced. This vote brought more chaos and confusion. I believe that all of this conflict, micromanaging, confusion is a direct result of the commissioners. You appointed the people and you knew exactly who they were. Citizen opinions began. Now this library board would develop their own standards. I doubt, considering their open hostility to Anita, they will ask for her opinion on the group guidelines. They don't listen to her support of the ALA guidelines, so why start now? I'm asking you commissioners to listen to your constituents, to listen to the professionals, and to support our library director and staff.
Thank you.
For listening.
Yep, thank you. Since that's the last of, that have signed up for public comment, we'll move forward with. Do we have to elect officers this morning?
Mr. Chairman, there was a discussion across the clerks, over the last couple of weeks, and the statute actually says that, that happens after each election. Some boards have done it every year, so that's up to you guys, really. I think you are supposed to do it after every election, but if you wish to change your board around every year, I think you certainly can do that.
What would you like to do?
I'd like to wait until.
Okay,
Yeah, I'd rather he.
perfect.
Yes, we do have a. If we're gonna, at some point talk about it. The issue of, liaison.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that now or later?
We'll do that, next week when Mike's back. Anything further?
No, I was gonna do the same thing.
Oh.
With a split.
Well, it was, speaking of that, I know we just recently made some changes.
Yeah, Clarence and I switched for treatment, so I
Right.
took the corner.
Right.
So we see America, maybe that's what he wanted.
Was that the only thing you had to talk about? Do you have anything else?
No.
All right. With that, we're a couple minutes early for our public hearing, so, did you have any meetings, reports, concerns over our break?
See. Yeah, I talked about the solid waste district, with the composting of animals.
Oh, yeah,
That is House Bill 09, so that we can give that to the liaison. Give that to them.
You betcha.
I think that's all. Might be.
this,
59-1 vote, that too, Mr. Chair,
so
so
this,
need to pass it on to solid waste district.
okay. This is an act relating to the prioritization of municipal solid waste facilities, cease and transfer projects, authorizing expenditure of previously appropriated funds, establishing a prioritized list of projects, So on and so forth, the Department of Environmental Quality limited discretionary authority to modify the prioritizationized list, specifying specifying expenditures for a carcass management project, providing definitions, required reports. So this is saying that they have to set a,
Yeah,
and it was passed, February 12th of 2024. So
that's what my understanding was, that they have to have like a trench or some place that they designate for the animals to be put in,
mhm.
and then covered lightly with dirt every day, so that the crows and other animals
Right.
don't come there, you know.
So is that for all animals? Cause I know there was a few years ago, we had a lot of discussion about, the, taking in, CWB,
Yes,
uh,
from other counties.
wildlife from other counties.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And,
we don't,
the last I knew, we weren't doing that.
yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, to my knowledge, it's just for our county, or for each county needs to do their own,
Exactly.
but it's something that we probably need to put into practice, or at least tell our liaison to take it to
Yep.
that meeting. So
Yep.
we talked about that when they were here last, 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so it is 9:30. We have a public hearing. CRRJ LLC doing business as Miners to Grub State liquor license, Miners Grub State. The liquor license transfer to Ricky George. Do we have anybody here? With,
I'm
Yeah.
Ricky George.
come on up. Emma, have we received any public comment, any written comment?
No.
Okay, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Ricky George.
You made her down all right?
We did, it's someone out there,
Is it
yeah,
windy too?
Wendy.
Uh, So can you tell us a little bit about your project, what your plans are?
So we have decided to purchase the grub stake and keep the business going and the restaurant going up there for South Pass area and for hikers and bikers and keeping a restaurant there.
And will you have limited hours or?
We'll have, our hours will be from 8 AM, we'll be serving breakfast again. The bikers really like that there. And then we will be probably closing about 10 PM. And sometimes earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, if there's no one around.
Yeah, there's no one around when we close.
Yeah. So this would be just the transfer of the liquor license. And you've got all the paperwork filled out. Commissioners, questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Have you guys taken tips? Yes, we have taken tips. And have you, and has there been, Emma, has there been any, reports, feedback, anything? Okay.
Is there any public comment? Here. Is there any public comment for the liquor license transfer? Commissioners,
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval for liquor license for, transfer of ownership. From Miners Delight, Miners Grub Steak to CRRJ LLC. Is this, Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
Now, is this just one person? Are you just one person doing this? Like,
No, there's four.
okay, that's what I was gonna.
they're on the list.
Yeah, I saw that. That's for.
Second. Been moved and seconded to approve the liquor license transfer from minor scrub stake to TRRJ LLC. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Okay.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you.
Safe trip back up there.
Yeah. If you want to wait until she makes you appropriate. Steve,
Morning, Commissioners.
good morning.
Baldwin County Planning. We have a pretty simple subdivision here this morning. It's a free subdivision of lot 2 of the Coral subdivision located north of Riverton. Subdivisions from 78, the Welliverts to, what was the right name? Werbelows own this since the 90s. And they are, their daughter is interested in acquiring a little bit of land to build a house on. So they're splitting their 2-acre lot in half and going to be giving their daughter a portion of property. There were no comments from any written or verbal comments, and it was unanimously approved at the plan.
Questions?
Let's see, Mr. Chairman. Steve, some of those, that was, had a kind of a homeowners association type of there, is that right?
Yeah.
And they didn't renew it, right?
So actually, that's correct. The covenants expired. And when the covenants expired, it was expressly written in the covenants that the covenants would expire unless 100% of the property owners agreed to amend it and send it. And there's no record of it happening. So the covenants, there had been covenants in place originally that restricted the ability to divide the lots. Once the covenants expired, that condition was no longer expressed within the subdivision.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move for approval of the Coral subdivision, lot 2, re-subdivision as recommended by the Fremont County Planning Commission.
Been moved and seconded to approve the Coral subdivision lot 2 re-subdivision. All those in favor?
Aye.
Like,
Opposed? Motion passed.
No.
First, right at first minute.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
To,
I was wondering if we could move some of these up a little. We're way ahead of schedule.
Maybe we're as long by Zoom right now. I don't want to move it down.
Be great. Scott, are you here? Oh. Hello, Scott. There he is. Good morning. You must be muted. Hang on a second, Scott.
Can you hear me? No? Wonder what's wrong. Can you hear me now? I don't know what the problem with the sound is.
I just sent him an email to see if he'd be able to send us his phone number. We can put it in the phone again.
Can you hear me now?
To audio.
Can you hear us, Scott?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
no.
Can you hear me?
Is 307-332-1130.
Yeah.
You can sure.
Seven. Meeting.
Well, I guess while we're waiting for that to get straightened out, we could ask Mylan to come up if you're ready.
Are you wanting to do the resolution, Mr. Chairman,
Uh,
or the personnel?
the personnel.
Okay. I had to, I think in the signature file, we were gonna discuss the emergency operations plan resolution.
Okay. I didn't see it.
It's in that paper, right here.
It's right here. Great, a good opportunity, but we can talk about personnel first, one. Resolution 2026-04. Okay, we can talk about that.
Okay, so that's the every 2-year emergency operations plan, where county government, both tribal governments and all 5 municipalities, they do a resolution and accept that because it has the framework for the national performance grant and NIMS, National Incident Management System. So these are all components that are required for these governments to obtain the FEMA grants. And so it's the framework that qualifies them for that. And if they should choose, they can add their own emergency operations plan specifically to their municipalities, their tribal governments, or the county. So it's just a framework, and every 2 years I'm required to update that. I put it out to all stakeholders for any changes, recommendations, and there's a period of evaluation for that. They have had several municipalities come back and say they would like to change this out. We looked it over, we made some adjustments, and the evaluation period is over, and I'm now obtaining resolutions from the corresponding governments.
So they're all ready to sign now?
Yes.
Okay. Questions? So with the NIMS, is it 1, 2, 3, and 7? Now that a minimum that they have to have?
Oh, you mean in the, 1, 2, 700 is the basic.
Yeah.
And then if you want to get your professional series, of course, it's the 1, 2, 7, 8, and there's like the iPods in there as well. So, but most jurisdictions don't require going that far.
Just for 1, 2, and 700.
1, 2, and 7.
All right. Commissioners, questions?
We just need to approve the resolution, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, move for approval of resolution number 2026-04 for the Homeland Security Grant Guidance Program
Yes. Right.
and adoption of the Fremont County Municipal Tribal Emergency Operations.
Do I have a second? Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. And now the bad news.
This is the one with the money, but I'm glad I'm not alone. I see that there's several on the agenda.
Yeah.
Yes, I am seeking to replace an assistant coordinator. She has taken another position for about 80% higher wages than what we were paying her. So nobody can dispute that.
We have more bucks.
So I'm wanting to fill that position because it's such a competitive market out there right now for the 45,000 per year that I have budgeted for that position.
What is the salary range?
Right now, it's fixed at 45,000. Previous to that, there was a salary range of, let's see what I had here. 2.5 years ago, we've had some SOC changes.
Right.
I have 41,301 to 50.
Yeah,
so
41,000 to
51,640.
45,000.
I mean, 41 was the base for administrative assistant, and then the 25 percentile top is 51,641, and this position is at 45,000, correct?
Pretty much in the center of the SOC.
Okay. All right. Commissioners,
Mr. Chairman,
questions? Okay.
that's within your budget.
Yes, Commissioner.
It's at his budget at 45.
45, correct.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
I move for approval, for rehire position of the emergency management assistant coordinator. At the salary range not to exceed 45,000.
Been moved and seconded to approve rehiring a emergency management assistant coordinator at a salary range not to exceed $45,000. Further discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
So the range I just gave you is an admin assistant, not a coordinator, so I don't know if that's something that you would like Mylan to work on.
Yeah,
before he advertises to see if that's.
It is an
the
admin
range.
assistant,
Okay.
to the coordinator, but
Okay.
they do field work.
Right.
And on call, and so we plan to merge those, because the job description parallels the coordinator as well, so.
And we have, Mr. Chairman, we have not done that for him, and
Right.
so I don't know if you would want to
You
have him
want,
and I work on that, the better,
I think
better
that'd be
range.
great.
Yeah. I'm not sure, no offense to admin assistants, because they do a lot of work, but if you were calling it something else and somebody looks at that as an ad, I'm not sure that they would take it, knowing the work that goes into that. I didn't
I think that'd be great.
That made it change, we probably should have looked at that a while ago. I apologize.
Just work on it and then come up from there.
Work with the terminology. Yeah,
Yeah.
you see, there is the clerical.
Right.
Of course, we both do that. And then there is the field work.
Mhm.
So in essence, it really is an assistant coordinator.
Right. And, you know, maybe if you and Julie get it worked out, come back to us and maybe we could possibly increase it, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna hold off on any advertising until.
Until you get the kind of the job description finalized
Okay.
and the duties.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I need to withdraw my motion.
Is that good with the second?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I mean, I think you're giving
think that's
Mylan
a
the
good idea.
approval to move ahead. I
Right.
think that he knows that he can do that. I don't want to hold this up for him.
I
I
think
just
it
don't want
needs
him
to
to be
be
putting out a number that's not adequate profit.
Works for me.
Yeah, because I think there's just the job description does have the paralleling responsibilities. I think we just need to change the name for the most part.
Yeah.
And look at the range for
Which
that. I'm sure the range
changes
is
the
different than
essence,
that. So.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for your time this evening.
Have a good day.
Did we ever get Scott back on? Yeah.
We may have that, but you take that.
Are we muted?
He's muted. So, turn down.
Hi, this is Ella, this very much, commissioners. I'm gonna have you try unmuting yourself one time just to see if I fix something, so it's over.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yes.
we can hear you now.
All right. Okay.
Good morning, Scott.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me this morning. I'm calling in to request a letter of support from the Fremont County Commission regarding my Lawrence Welk project, the 70th anniversary. I believe you were given a copy of the draft letter that I would like you to consider, and as it says in there, I try to state the aims, and one of them is to see if Congress will approve a symbolic resolution recognizing the 70th anniversary and the contributions to music and American culture of Lawrence Welk, Myron Florin, and the cast of the show. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have or give you some additional background on this. But just this morning, I got another county and another state. So now I'm up to 7 states that are in some way represented, 49 counties across those 7. In Lawrence Welk's home state of North Dakota, I have over half the counties, and a number of cities, such as the state capital, their mayor, the mayor of Fargo, have signed letters of support. Myron Florin's home county and hometown have provided letters of support, for example. So I've done some interviews in the Dakotas about this. So that gives you a little bit of background in that respect. And in terms of my personal interest, in case you're wondering why a young guy knows who he is in the first place and why is he interested, because my mom grew up watching the show in Pennsylvania with my grandfather, who I was close to, and I genuinely like a lot of the music on the show. Part of my family's background is German and Norwegian, and on my father's side, we have Midwestern farming roots, and of course, Welk and Florin were sons of Midwestern farmers, and I appreciate my roots, my heritage, my family. And like I say, I like polka, country, jazz, big band, and all of that's on the show. So, have a lot in one place, and I'm still able to see it on Saturday nights most weekends. And as I said in my draft, I'm not asking the commission for any money, and I'm not asking Congress to allocate any money. This is just a symbolic gesture. Thank you.
Questions, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I remember
What is Sam?
quite well.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Could you?
That you didn't get off the couch to goof off. My parents had to sit there.
Forced.
And then they would dance in the living room.
Uh,
And we sat there and watched. And I moved one time that razor strap. My remember button. But I really come to now really enjoy the replays that we get once in a while. So a good time.
So Scott, what Scott is asking for is just a letter of support, so he can move forward and, like he said, eventually get it to Congress and hopefully get something pushed through.
So, Mr. Scott, so what is your, I appreciate your, endeavors, but what is your end game here? What is your goal?
The main goal is the recognition by Congress of the contributions to American culture and society over many decades, because it's been on for 70 years, either originally, in the original performances, but also on many PBS stations across the country. And so people, and depending on where you live, for 70 years, have had their whole life with access to it. Sort of like Queen Elizabeth when she died. There were pensioners that their whole life, they had her. So it's been a long-term staple of the country. And part of it, in addition to the recognition, is I've been trying to raise awareness. Like I say, I've been on some news programs in North Dakota. I could give you the links if you like. I have some newspaper interviews. So I'm trying to see who out there might be interested in hearing about this, and see if anybody my age that only knows the show from Saturday Night Live skits might want to actually look into it for themselves and see if there really is something there beyond people making a joke out of it, which I think, that's a real travesty. I know that it can be a compliment if people make a joke out of somebody prominent. It can be a compliment because you're worthy in the first place. And Lawrence Welk could take a joke himself, but when I care about something, I can be a little defensive. And so I just like people to take a fresh look for themselves and not just rely on that.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion, or do you want to take it under advisement?
Under advisement. Under advisement.
Under advisement.
I would write the letter, but
We, Scott, the majority of the board will, take it under advisement, and we'll, when we get our fifth commissioner back, we'll have that discussion with him, and, we'll see how that turns out.
Okay. Thank you everyone for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Good time.
Thank you.
With that, we have a budget hearing. Budget transfer.
Mr. Chairman, as was discussed in the last couple meetings, prior to the new year. We have a budget hearing basically for our opiates settlement funding. The first would be contractual services going to VOA Center of Hope for treatment service beds for $164,250. The second was a K9 program through the sheriff's office, where they purchased 2 K9 dogs and then travel for their training. And then also a truck, and then also some supplies for them. Sum that up right here. I probably have it somewhere. This one would be something. 127, 520-ish. Those would all come from the opioid settlement revenue. They just had not been budgeted for the year. So as we go through, they're coming programs for you that they have discussed with you and you approved a couple weeks ago. So that is the budget hearing for today.
Questions, commissioners? Since this is a public hearing, is there any public comment? Deputy.
Hello, Lieutenant Reed with the Sheriff's Office. I just have some write-ups that I made up for you guys to add to everything, if I can bring them up.
Come on up.
It's just a little bit more information in reference to the opioid settlement funds, and then how the K9 pertains to them as well. And some duties and how I know Commissioner Jones had some concerns with how the K9 was part of the prevention portion of the opioid settlement funds, and that's explained here in this write-up, as well as the strategies and the amendments for how the funds can be used.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Thank you. Yep. Any questions? Commissioners? Your pleasure.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of the budget hearing.
I can.
Oh, I move for approval of the budget hearing, notice of hearing for the budget transfer of monies for the opioid legal settlements revenues. Is this the total amount? Is it 301? That's total. Okay.
So that's,
So total amount is of $301,770.
second, Mr. Chair.
We moved and seconded to approve the budget hearing in the amount of $301,700, $301,707. Further discussion.
That's the total, correct?
Right.
Okay.
That's correct. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passed.
Because sorry, Mr. Chair, just, in Minnesota, they had lost 9 tons of opioid and fentanyl.
Jeez.
They would have had it all there. Earlier. If the dog is good, a good thing.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
we could take a few minutes to talk the next budget hearing that happened. So as you, Commissioner Fabricius has looked at the financial statements that came up in December, and that's the time of year I start looking to see how everybody's doing mid-year, and came across the search and rescue budget. And it is way over budget, and I didn't realize we had a helicopter cost in there, and part of it was recovery of a body, and also part of it was just the search part of it, so they're dividing that up. They do not go to the State Search and Rescue Council for reimbursement until April, but we can't be over budget. So I visited with Jim because recovery, as you know, or even non-recovery, if we need to, can be, we can use the SRS, Secure Rural Schools, Forest Service Title III monies for that. So we can cover for $37,125 of that. The additional $56,796.96 for right now is going to have to come out of the cash reserve until they go to the council to see if they can get that reimbursed. They will not be able to ask for the $37,125 if we use the Secure Rural for funds. If Jim told me right on that. So, and if you want to add anything.
No, so the Secure Rural Schools, which a bit of a side note, has been reauthorized. I don't know exactly when we might see some money on that, but we have just over $42,000 of carryover money that's been earmarked for search and rescue from previous years Secure Rural Schools distribution. So we need to spend that. If we don't spend it, it has to be paid back to the federal government. So this $37,000 will take a big bite out of that 42,000, and I think it's a good use of that, both of those SRS funds, and alleviate the general fund a little bit from having to
and
carry that burden.
So did I read correctly that with the reauthorization of that rural schools, that they're going to make that retroactive?
I think so. It did mention that it was going to be retroactive for 2024 and 2025. The fiscal year references always confuse me a little bit, oddly enough, when it comes to the federal stuff, just because their fiscal years don't align with ours. So I think that it may be retroactive for the year that we did not receive anything. We may get a payment on that, as well as one that would have been for the current year.
And Julie, did you say the bill with Teton County Sheriff's Office, part of that is recovery? or would most
Mr.
of?
Chairman, my understanding, this whole thing is one helicopter search. So it was search and recovery. They're gonna give me the cost of when it became recovery.
Okay.
So what I did want to mention about this is we can reclass the 37 out of search and rescue into secure role. We'll do that, so it really won't be a budget hearing, but I wanted you to understand what happened. So I'm just telling you about that and what we're planning on doing on that. So when you see the budget hearing next week, you will just see the cash reserve to the search and rescue for the 56,796.96.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because Search and Rescue Council will need definitive numbers when it was
Yes.
went from a search to a recovery.
Yes, okay, and I figured it as much, of course, we always want that as well here, I mean, it normally was just, that's how we handled it, was if we could handle it through the SRS stuff, so I'm waiting for that information from Amanda and Mike Hutchison, so I hope to get that before next week, but if you have any other questions that you'd like me to ask them, I could certainly have them here next week as well, if you have any other questions. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, so to be clear, so everybody understands, we can get the money from secure pool for the 37,125.
We already have that money for search and rescue, but we hadn't used it yet.
Okay, can
So we're
we
going
use
to-
all of it? And why not?
Well, what happens if I guess my question is, what happens if something happens in the meantime?
So when do we get it? Do we get another?
We don't know when the
Benjamin.
funding, they just approved.
Oh, okay, so,
Correct. I mean, we could move portions. It's harder, I guess, to split expenditures. I mean, it's just harder to explain in the
Okay.
paperwork to have those.
Different.
Yeah.
okay, so the 56,000 plus, is that recoverable? That's something.
It depends on from when it went from search to a recovery. Because Search and Rescue Council will not reimburse for recoveries. That's just, it's just a law that we cannot reimburse for that.
So then the county needs it.
So, Mr. Chairman, so the point might be that this first part of it was probably, could be the search. And this could possibly be part of the search as well. So I think those are things that we're gonna have to ferret out with them, and we may have to, if that's the case, if the second one is part search, then recovery, then. Cause I wanna make sure whatever they apply for at the state is the best that we can,
Yeah.
and using the SRS the best we can. So we still need that information, but I just wanna let you know where we are with it and what we're looking at. So it might be a different number next week.
Yep.
Well, we've got to advertise by Thursday this week, so we'll get that figured out by this week, so.
Search and Rescue Council is trying to figure out a way to pay for a recovery, but right now, we're limited to what we can reimburse for recovery.
Okay, so Ms. Chairman, Julie, so if we pay the 30, or we take the 37,000 and we've got it, that much there, does that still throw them over budget with the 57?
Absolutely, they only have a $30,000, what was it, 37,000 was their budget this year.
Okay, that's already below.
Well, no, but 96,000
Yeah.
as makes it, they're over 66,000. Yeah, with all the rest of their stuff that they're doing, and it's only half a year.
Okay,
Yeah, we're just getting started.
So
Great.
like I said, we'll look and we'll see where they come out with what is search and what is recovery, because you're right, the recovery should come out of this where we know we can use that. So again, this might be different numbers next week, but we just wanted to have that conversation. I've also had the conversation with them. Normally I hear about this ahead of time, and this happened, and I don't know why it escaped me how much money we had done in that by September. But I reminded them to please let me know anytime we have to have a helicopter, just let our Jim and I know so we're aware, because that's never going to be inside their budget ever.
Right.
Ever. So
And
we'll need to get on it right
and
away.
it used to be where, like, for instance, Sublette County would carry the bill until it come time for a Search and Rescue Council to reimburse. And then they would reimburse them, and then Fremont County's bill would be written off because it was reimbursed, but they don't do that.
Okay.
That is the other.
Every county has to submit their own bill.
Mr. Chairman, I think that's why we're seeing it this time, not the end of the year. I'm used to knowing about it earlier,
Right.
but then at the end of the year is when we're trying to figure it out. So I think
Yeah.
it surprised me. I just want to make sure
Yeah,
we're not
that's
out of compliance.
Yeah, so I don't remember seeing this like this before.
So,
Exactly.
so like classic, flight service,
Mm,
they furnish 2 hours of free flight time
okay,
to, for the initial search.
yeah.
Then after that, it's $5,000 an hour.
Mr. Chair, it'd be nice if somebody in county would just donate
Yeah, good luck.
donated, I mean, got a budget over $100 million over there. And we got a budget around 7 million, it's like,
For everything.
you can maybe help out here a little bit, something.
I think they did. They provided.
Yeah, they provided a helicopter.
Also, Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
I found an area on, health insurance that probably we've never had a discussion at this table about, but so extensions, health insurance was way over there, like at 100% already. I'm like, wow, small department, what the heck happened there? So my bad, I said, oh, this person has a spouse who is also in county government, so you don't need to take the health insurance because you're already on one plan. And you can't, we don't do it that way. So so we have 4 couples and every department has to take that cost. Because if one were to leave, the other needs to still be able to be covered. Does that make sense?
Mm,
So I did that. I made that mistake. They freaked out yesterday when I called them. And so I said, it's not your fault, it's mine. But I want to make sure that we get them back to where they're supposed to be, which would be adding to extension health insurance only, 23,292, which is that amount that we put for every full-time employee that is taking the health insurance. So I did check the other 4 to make sure I didn't screw them up, and they're fine. They're all doing good. So anyway, so that's one that will be coming up. The last one I'm still trying to work on is the PHEP, so the Public Health and Emergency Preparedness. Remember, they got more money. I still don't have that budget. I'm really gonna shoot for getting whatever that changes are. She's gonna be going over budget too if we don't get that done. And I'll turn you over to River.
Yeah, so the last one, you recall you signed an agreement with Alexander Excavation for the Riverview Road project. Kind of slipped through the cracks. We realized that we hadn't budgeted for the construction phase of that project. We only budgeted for the engineering phase back in 2024. So we're just needing to make sure that we have enough budget in that capital project for the construction phase of that Riverview Road.
Because they've started construction.
Yes, yeah, so this is a catch-up budget amendment. So the total amount of that contract was $4,664,031. That is gonna be, it was split into a Schedule A and a Schedule B. And there's a cost share with this where the city of Riverton is responsible for a portion of these costs. And so under Schedule A, which the budget amount for that was $4,196,187. Riverton has a 55% cost share on that, and the county has a 45% cost share. So that equals for Riverton $2,307,903. There's an MOU in place that they will pay us, so we will pay the bills, and then City of Riverton will reimburse us for their portion. That leaves the county's portion at $1,888,284. That will come out of the 1% fund. For Schedule B, then, the total budget for that was $467,844, and Riverton is 100% on the hook for that one. So, so we'll get that written up as far as the revenue streams and the expenditure side of it, and have that advertised and ready for next week.
Well, I don't think we, like you said, we didn't approve the construction side. Is that what you're saying?
When the project was initially created, back in 2024, July of 2024, when we first initiated this Riverview project, we only had a $300,000 budget, which covered the expense or the engineering side. I don't know if that was because we didn't have a good feel for construction costs at that time or what the magnitude was going to be, and so we held off. So this was just one now that it had gone to bid and we've awarded a contract. You know, technically we should have done this at the same time we were signing the contract, and just all of us didn't communicate.
Well, I know there were some issues with the engineering, and it must have reflected back on to the city of Riverton's cost, because I thought we had paid 300 and some thousand.
It was, at least from what I saw, we have to date spent just under 300,000 on that. The city of Riverton, it was a 50-50 split on that. So I think the city of Riverton owes us a few $1,000s, probably off of whatever the last engineering invoice was concerned. So we've covered that at the moment. And when we get reimbursement from the city of Riverton, we'll credit back the 1% fund for the amount that we're currently covering.
All right. Any other good news?
Mr. Chairman, Tana is here too, and I know she had sent me a list of some stuff. I think I answered her questions. I think some of the things that are on her, what they wanted to do are in their budget, but I do believe that there's a thing here with Eagles Hope, and I didn't know if you wanted to discuss that within, I got that paper here for you, and then I can make them a copy. I don't know if you want to come up and pitch that one.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question. Do we need to do anything with this right now, or?
We're gonna have a budget hearing.
This is just the pre-budget hearing, I'm telling you about it, so.
Okay, so we can do. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Eagles Hope did in fact approach us asking for help, and you'll find that on the proposed opioid abatement prevention strategies. Page 1 of 4 at the bottom. Supporting a continuum of care of recovery services for opioid use disorder and co-occurring disorders.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have any papers on that. Oh, you don't?
I'm sorry.
No.
I was waiting to see which one we were. It only has one on it. I mean, it's only one. It doesn't have that on. It's only on one sheet. Jim.
You do have it.
I
I emailed it. In fact, I emailed it to everyone yesterday. I read the email, but I don't have a physical.
We've got it.
I know.
That's what I need to get back. Wait.
She did it.
It was 3 minutes or. Yeah, I didn't copy it.
Okay, were you able to read those?
I didn't read that.
Oh, okay.
I just hadn't got to it. It was late in the afternoon.
All right.
To do it, so
I like
for
physical.
me,
I can't see them. Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you didn't have it.
wasn't sure which one you want to talk about.
That's okay. We have
It's
it.
the second one there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you. So yeah, the second one down, support people in treatment and recovery and reduce stigma. Eagles Hope transitions. Including supportive housing, care support services, community navigators. Case management and connections to community-based services. Eagles Hope is a nonprofit. In 2025, they housed 9 individuals with verifiable opioid use disorder. 60 total people were housed. Year to date, when they had approached me for this. And they explained as proof of use of the monies, they provide a copy of the rental contract as well as require proof of diagnosis during the intake process.
the residents that will use the units have both been to prison and gone through the system's treatment programs for fentanyl.
So this would be added to the budget hearing next week as well, right?
Correct. $12,000 for 2 units. Administration of 1 family unit and 1 individual unit per year to include wraparound services.
What are wraparound services?
So, the case management, connections to community-based services, outpatient, treatment, things like that. They provide, fatherhood and motherhood is sacred and other classes to help build family.
Questions?
So are we, Mr. Chairman, are we, approving it this, on this,
It'll be, a-
here, no, we're gonna put it off for a week.
yeah, we'll have a budget hearing on it next week.
Okay, now bring me up to speed here just quick. Are we talking Eagle Scope to also in this, is that the same as the, Center of Hope?
No, sir. Eagles Hope transition is entirely
Okay,
different.
$12,000 there.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anything further?
Mr. Chairman, we discussed last week with their program that some of these we know that we need to have approval that we can put them on for a budget hearing. The rest that she emailed to you, there's 4 pages. I did review all of those. They do have the budget for the dragers and the true narcs and all that stuff. So they have that and the training, and I think they're covered under those. This is the only one I felt like was probably what we need to put on next week. Okay. As long as you're good with that program.
Yep.
We'll move forward.
Think so?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you next week.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that's all I have for a pre-budget hearing that I know of at this very point. Again, we will be looking closer at obviously all of our expenditures now that will be starting into the budget season here shortly. Thank you.
It's on there. Yeah.
Okay, no, sorry, I don't know. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Great. Sage, we're running just a little bit late. If the deputy would leave you alone, quit bugging you, we'll get some work done here.
Somebody needs to.
Yeah.
Morning, Chairman.
Good morning. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So I don't have a whole lot to report on the youth services side. We had a lot of people on vacation over the holidays, and so I do have a little bit just as of like today's information. Our day reporting center, which is the DRC, where juveniles come and attend school. We ended the fall semester in December with 9 students. They started school today and we had 4 return. 3 of those 4 students are already delegated to stay with us until May. 1 student only has a couple credits before they can actually graduate. So I anticipate that will be a very short time that they are with us. In regards to youth services, yesterday we got notified of a meeting that will happen this afternoon regarding the CJSB grant applications. So we can, Hattie and I will work together in coordinating that for their grants. That is due on March 16th. So before that is due, I anticipate being back before you all for that review of that grant.
Our citation numbers for the month of November, were 22 citations, with substance use being the majority of those citations. And so that's whether it be a controlled substance or alcohol. And pretty much the same thing in December. Same amount of citations, and substance use and alcohol were a majority of those that we saw coming into our office. Regarding the CAST program, I have attached a flyer. We will be having another graduation on January 8th at 11 a.m. with Judge Combs. If you guys are able to attend and kind of see what we do, offer your support in this milestone, that would be fantastic. Currently, we have 21 participants who are enrolled in our program. We have 4 that are in residential treatment. So once they are done with residential treatment, they will transition back with us and begin their step down services. And we have 2 individuals who are waiting to go to their residential treatment, and then once that's done, they'll come back to us. In regards to CAST, I am requesting that I be able to post the treatment coordinator position that was my position until moving to the director. That salary range is within our budget of $58,500 to $60,403.
Questions? Commissioner? So with that position, you would truly be short the position you just vacated, correct?
Currently,
You would be short of that position.
yes,
Someone to fill that position.
correct. So I am still actively doing the coordinator role and now moving into the director role. So yes, that is why we're requesting to open that for applicants.
Mr. Chairman, so this is for a treatment coordinator?
Yes.
Okay. You need a motion, right?
Yeah.
Make a motion that we go out for a rehire for a treatment coordinator in the amount of salary amount of $58,500 to $60,403. It is a budgeted position and it's full time, but we go out for rehire. Mr. Chair, make that motion to do that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the rehiring of the treatment coordinator, salary range from $58,500 to $60,403. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you, Chairman. Updating with the JTC, there's been no changes in that status. I've not received any applicants. I do have a list. I know at one of the previous meetings, we had talked about aggressively advertising for that therapist position. So I've included the places where I have reached out, where we have advertised, and we've not had a whole lot of feedback. So that is where I am at currently in that position.
What are we gonna do about a clinical supervisor?
I have been working with the judicial branch. Myself and the judicial branch have reached out to CWCC and Fremont Counseling to see if that is something that they are willing to offer us. And it be for a contract of service for 10, 15 hours a month. I responded to an email this morning. They had some questions that they needed clarified on. So I am actively working on trying to navigate that to see if we can come to some type of agreement and understanding of what CAS needs so that we can try and move forward on that aspect as well.
And And then did the deal go through with Fremont Counseling where they got bought out?
I don't know. I don't know for sure that they were bought out, but I think there's a partnership with CWCC. Yes, and that's why I've been talking to both, the director of Fremont Counseling as well as the director with CWCC, to see if there's any guidance that either one of them can help with.
Okay. Right, any other questions? Commissioners? Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I will see you guys this afternoon with the judicial branch.
Okay, that's good. Let's go with Jason. And then we'll take a break shortly
Okay.
after that. Okay. Morning.
Morning, everyone. And Commission.
Morning.
How are you?
Please. Didn't want to hold you up any longer than we had to.
Oh, well, appreciate that. I am simply here for clarification. My name is Jason Baldus, member of the Eastern Shoshone Tribe. I currently work as the Senior Buffalo Program Manager for the National Wildlife Federation. I serve as Vice President on the Intertribal Buffalo Council. And I'm Executive Director of the Wind River Tribal Buffalo Initiative. And a manager for the Eastern Shoshone Tribe's buffalo herd. So I wear several hats nationally as well as locally to work on behalf of tribes for buffalo across the country. Literally my job to help restore buffalo to tribes across the country. And Intertribal Buffalo Council currently has 89 member tribes from Florida to New York to Alaska and 19 states in between. And both the Eastern Shoshone and Northern Arapaho tribes are member tribes of ITBC. In the National Wildlife Federation, we work nationally as well to support tribes on conservation efforts. Conservation of the species, but also really to support the self-determination and treaty rights for tribes, as well as being advocates for the federal trust responsibility that the federal government has to support tribes. So I've been working on bison restoration for quite some time. I grew up in Lander, went to West Elementary. I used to walk down the street here to my dad's office on 2nd Street. And got to witness a lot of his work in the 70s, 80s, 90s as a biologist with the Fish and Wildlife Service. I was a little kid when I witnessed the reintroduction of pronghorn antelope and bighorn sheep back to the reservation. And, went to high school here, played in 3 state championships in 94 to 97, was all-state outside linebacker. I was one of those juvenile delinquents though. And I had a difficulty, maybe in my own identity, and my daddy took me to Africa, and I spent 6 months there traveling around, but I had a kind of an epiphany there in the middle of the wildebeest migration in Serengeti, and just seeing the wildlife and the expanse of the landscape there. Realizing that the wildebeest there is less than 5% of what the bison was here less than 200 years ago. And that kind of really hit home. So when I returned back, I found recovery and sobriety, and I decided to focus my education on bison restoration, moved to Montana, got my undergraduate and graduate degrees at Montana State University in Land Resources and Environmental Sciences. And so I've worked and during that time, really focused on buffalo restoration as an academic endeavor. What would it take to restore this iconic keystone species back to the landscape? Not so we have 30 to 60 million of them again. I don't think we'll ever see that, but to restore this animal in a meaningful way, not only for the land, the history, but for the people and the tribes here that still have songs and ceremonies that remind us of how important that animal is. The fact that we continue to practice the Sundance ceremonies that require buffalo despite their absence for 130 years is really a testament to that resiliency for our tribal people to hold on to our lifeways. And our reservation was created as a place, as a homeland for our people to practice those lifeways that were exterminated alongside that buffalo. And so when we think about providing healing for our communities, I believe buffalo is center to that. And bringing them back in a meaningful way that isn't to create controversy, it isn't to undermine anyone's livelihood, it's to restore a relationship to this relative, this buffalo, in a way that can provide a new hope for our young people, can provide culturally relevant research and educational opportunities, can create a nutritional source of protein that's more important in really reducing, the health disparities that we see within our communities. Buffalo meat can literally help cure diabetes. And so as we restore this animal, we're trying to do that justice by the reverence that we have for this animal, but also doing that in respect of our neighbors and making sure that we can alleviate any of the concerns that are brought up. And as I mentioned, we work nationally through Intertribal Buffalo Council for legislation. For instance, the Indian Buffalo Management Act that just moved through the Senate recently. We're waiting for that to go through the House. But really, I've really tried to, over the years, build relationships and cooperation with as many people as possible to ensure or alleviate any of the concerns that may come up. So I certainly work closely with the two liaisons for the tribes, Anita Roman and James Sarles, but have invitations to the governor. I've worked closely with the Wyoming State Vets. Before we even brought the first 10 buffalo in 2016, I was in conversations with Jim Logan, the Wyoming State Vet, to ensure that we were going above and beyond any of the regulatory requirements of the state of Wyoming when we brought buffalo in. Of course, Intertribal Buffalo Council moves about 2,000 buffalo per year through those various states in the country. So that's a process that's well underway, and there is certainly requirements that ITBC meets at each of those states. Dr. Hallie Hazel is now the Wyoming State Vet. She's been out to see our program 3 times, and I'm on schedule on the 28th at the end of the month to present at the Select Committee on Tribal Relations. I reached out to and spoke with the Wyoming Livestock Board law enforcement, Chris Strang, to help ensure that there wasn't any concerns from the livestock board from our efforts. Wyoming Game and Fish Department, the Wyoming Select Committee on Tribal Relations had an invitation recently. Eric Barlow, Pepper Ottman, Ivan Posey was there. However, Cale Case wasn't able to make that, but I'm in fairly, I talked with Cale fairly recently. We always run into each other on the plane from Denver to Riverton. But Wyoming Department of Agriculture, we reached out to Doug Miyamoto just to make sure that they're up to speed, and encouraged a meeting and a site visit. Office of State Lands, Kate Barlow, also has ties with the governor's office, has an invitation as well. So I just wanted to really come in and provide a little bit of clarity about where we have come from and the work that we're trying to do on behalf of the 2 tribes for buffalo restoration, and ensure that we can alleviate any of the concerns. We're trying to find win-win solutions. Certainly, there is no disease concerns from the buffalo. most of the animals are coming from federal herds managed by the Department of Interior. There is no process for any animals to come directly out of Yellowstone and to a tribe. They have to go through a very strict process. There is a lot of animals that are out there that are in the private production herds. There's 19 herds that are managed by the Department of Interior across the country. We also work closely with the Nature Conservancy, who manages 11 herds. Even Ted Turner has 50,000 buffalo scattered across 9 or 11 herds as well. So we have partners across the country that are involved in bison restoration, whether it's the production side with the National Bison Association. There's 1,500 bison producers that are across the country. And then there's a conservation group or community that's really focused on the conservation genetics. There's less than 15,000 bison that have conservation genetics. Most have levels of cattle gene introgression. Well, we want to start with the best genetics that we can get, and that means those that are coming from those federal herds, or those that have gone through strict process to ensure that there's no disease concerns. And so there has been an effort in the previous administration through the Bison Conservation Initiative to create a shared stewardship strategy for bison conservation. I represented ITBC along with 8 other tribal co-authors and 5 federal agency authors to create this document so that federal agencies and tribes moving forward have a strategy to work together for overall bison conservation. That's essentially what we are a part of as the Wind River Tribes, this larger effort to conserve the species, ensure that there is no disease concerns, but also allow this animal to exist. The tribes here have a history of conservation in protecting land and water and wildlife, from the very first wilderness area in the country 26 years before the Federal Wilderness Act, to the Game Code in the 80s, even to protecting predators like wolves and bears in the 90s. Buffalo protected as wildlife or allowed to exist in contained areas as such is important as a keystone species restoration. And so we're monitoring those changes. We have 2 grad students and want to create a pipeline for more culturally relevant research for our students and allow them that opportunity to monitor and learn about the ecological changes that happen when bison are restored. They bring back plant and animal biodiversity. They store carbon. They are ecosystem engineers as a keystone species. So there's a broad interest across the country in how bison effectively create ecosystem change. They were here for millennia. They had an important role ecologically. And so we can create scenarios in places like that that are important for the animal, important for the land, but even more importantly, probably important for our people in the healing that comes with bringing this buffalo relative back. As a juvenile delinquent, I can speak to that myself. I found a lot of help in Buffalo, found a lot of help in returning to our songs and ceremonies. And so I really want to help create a way for more of our young people to have, and community members to have those experiences. We're talking about treatment centers. We bring our clientele from both of the Shoshone and Arapaho treatment centers out to the Buffalo. We've had all of the schools out to the Buffalo, K through 12. I've got academic partnerships with the University of Wyoming, Montana State, South Dakota State, Boise State, Colorado State. And so we are becoming a hub really for bison restoration, research, and bringing this animal back in a way that is in a win-win scenario. We realize there's contention with some neighbors, but we've reached out to those neighbors. Those neighbors have our phone numbers. And, we also want to acknowledge that history of how these lands were acquired and how it's important for some of these lands to be restored to ownership and jurisdiction of the tribes. to change land use and think about how colonial and assimilative processes were impacted on our grandmas and grandpas. How can we create a more favorable hope and scenario for our future? I wholeheartedly believe that buffalo are a big part of that. And so as, again, an advocate for the tribes, our sovereignty, our self-determination, our connection to our buffalo relative, I just wanted to reiterate how important this is, not only for the Shoshone-Arapaho tribes, but for Indian country, and also for our local community. This is something that a lot of our non-natives are also very interested in and coming out to visit and learn. So we were awarded a $9 million Economic Development Administration grant. This will be to build a headquarters for the Tribal Buffalo Initiative, but also serve as a hub for ecotourism. A lot of people are driving through the reservation on Highway 26 on the way to Yellowstone. We feel that we can stop those tourists and provide some more economic development, ecotourism right here at home. How do we generate a little bit more income for our reservation community, for our efforts, to ensure that we can continue to get this buffalo meat into the diet, the parts of the buffalo to our artisans, making sure that our youth have access and in the treatment in connection to this buffalo relative means learning our songs, participating in our ceremonies. All of that's important for our young people with their identity and healing. And I just want to keep an open line of communication on really what it is that we're trying to achieve there with the Wind River Tribal Buffalo Initiative and working on behalf of the two tribes. Those buffalo belong to the two tribes. The Wind River Tribal Buffalo Initiative was established just to serve as a support system. The tribes don't have a whole lot of money to allocate to buffalo because we got so many other issues that we're dealing with. So through the Tribal Buffalo Initiative, I raise support for our local nonprofit to provide those services, whether it's through education and academics, through the nutrition, making sure that we're processing and harvesting those animals, the processing of the hides. I've got about 12 employees. And so just making sure that we have the ability to fix fence when we need to, get on horseback if we need to. We want to be on call. We want to make sure that we can address any of the issues and concerns that people have. So I just wanted to come here and provide a bit of clarity and open line for you. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Sure. Yes. The Eastern Shoshone tribe, they say Isha Dewa. Mr. Benson was here presenting the fact that he had buffalo on his land and could not, well, he said he communicated with the tribe, our tribe, and that he couldn't get the buffalo off his land because there was no collaboration or response to get the buffalo off his land. Do you know about that situation? It was probably 2 months ago or so now. I had heard through Dennis O'Neill, who's the manager for the Northern Arapaho tribe, that the buffalo had gotten out and were in Mitch Benson's hayfield. And so I saddled up or got 3 horses together and went into the neighbor's field, the Woolries, and was on horseback while the Arapaho manager was communicating on the phone with Mitch. Mitch wouldn't let me into his property because he said that the Wyoming Game and Fish had jurisdiction and that I would be trespassing. So there was about 8 hours of deliberation there while I was on my horse. You know, I eventually went back to the trailer because I didn't want to just go in if he didn't want me to. Eventually, it took Chris Strang, the Wyoming Livestock Board investigator, telling Mitch that he needed to either let me in there to push him off of the horses or he'd have to do it himself. So I went in and talked with Mitch. I said, you know, I want to be neighborly about this. I said, these are the Arapaho buffalo. I'm here to help. And, you know, I think we have something in common. You want the buffalo off your ground and I'm here to help you do it. Finally, he did let me in. Took me about 10 minutes to get them buffalo off of his hayfield. But again, they were on the hayfield for about 8 hours because he wouldn't let me in. I think his, you know, we've got pictures of his cows getting out too, and his cows have broken through the fence line on the Arapahoe enclosure. And the argument goes both ways, for the animals. His cows get out too. But I think that rather than him, you know, he has my phone number as well as Dennis O'Neill's, and he hasn't used them, unfortunately, because I think that that could have been dealt with or alleviated a lot easier. We have other adjacent neighbors and landowners that do call, and if there is an issue, we solve it right away. So we have pretty good relationships with other rancher neighbors as well. So I think, you know, if you would use our numbers, I think that would help, instead of calling the governor or the Wyoming Livestock Board every time there's an issue. We designated range unit 24 for buffalo restoration. We had planned on having that fence line completed sooner. And that would have allowed us to let some animals off of the Arapahoe enclosure, which is really what the issue is. There's too many animals on that ground. And until we can get that fence line completed on range unit 24, where we could take some of those animals off, we would alleviate them wanting to get out into Mitch's hayfield. We have actually doubled the amount of hay that we're providing to those animals on the Arapahoe side. And that's essentially solved that problem. They don't really have a reason to get out when they've got enough to eat. And so that we're completing that range unit with the weather like this. We're hoping that's done in the next month or so. So I believe that had things fallen into place a little bit better for us in the expansion of ground that we have allocated for them, then we wouldn't have had that issue. But if and when that does happen, I would hope that there's a protocol for Mitch to contact either Dennis, especially since those were Arapahoe buffalo, and then where and if needed, I certainly will step in and help. Thank you. Chairman.
Yep.
You know, when Mr. Benson came here, he was using a term for the land in the sense of the reservation, which I won't use. But I got very upset about how he was using that term. You know, the issue of the Winter Reservation in Wyoming is one of the most unique reservations in the country. It has a lot of deeded land, which is not the case in other reservations. And I think both the Eastern Shawnee Tribe and Northern Arapahoe Tribe have been very patient with that. I mean, if I was on the council, I would be very willing to try to gain that land back as much as possible by any means. And I would also want my roads back that are within the boundaries of the reservation. And I would let that happen in a sense. It is a responsibility of the tribes to be caretakers and guardians of that land, those roads, that area within the boundaries of the reservation. But we have this ongoing movement of individuals who have deeded land within the reservation who try to treat the tribal government as a non-entity. It is important that they understand that they deal with with tribal government as if they would deal with the county government, as if they would deal with the state government, as if they would deal with the federal government. It is a government, and in that they have individuals who are in charge of areas such as Buffalo, and it'd be just easy to make those phone calls and to collaborate and to communicate and to work with the tribe and tribal entities. But it seems like they want to make havoc and chaos and continue this mistrust that has been within, I guess, dealing with tribal entities for centuries. And that has to stop. But the tribes have a good program. They know what they're doing. And they have Jason, who really knows what he's doing. And in that, just that collaboration, that simple communication, and then, like was said, then things get done and it's not brought to this table and made it seem like it was, I don't know, a violation of rights, which is not. It's not the case. So in that, I am thankful that Jason came and spoke with us, enlightened us, gave us more information, because they are working to enhance, and for the county, for economic enhancement, which is needed. If they can gain ground on that, then the issue of having to go all the way up to Teton County to see Buffalo is not needed anymore. It can be done in Fremont County, which means people are going to come to Fremont County and spend money, economic development. But that collaboration, that communication needs to be there. And this old way of seeing tribal entities or tribal government as non-existent or not capable of being able to communicate with has to stop. The tribal government and tribal entities need to be seen the same as any other governmental entity, the same as the county government or county entity. I would hope that those who deal with situations within the boundaries of the reservation would enhance their communication, enhance their collaboration, so that we as a county government don't need to be involved, which we don't. It can get handled before it even becomes an issue. Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for coming, Sharon. Who owns the Buffalo for sure? Is it the both tribes together own it? Rapo, Shoshone own these buffalo?
Each tribe has its own population. The Shoshone tribe has about 160, and the Northern Arapaho tribe has about 120. They're each on enclosures. The Shoshone buffalo are on 2,000 acres, and the Northern Arapaho buffalo are on 1,700 acres. These animals have been provided as members of the Intertribal Buffalo Council. And so when, as a member tribe applies for surplus animals through ITBC or the Intertribal Buffalo Council, then those animals are provided through trust responsibility to those sovereign governments. So those animals provided by the federal government through the trust responsibility provided through Intertribal Buffalo Council, who disperses those animals. I mentioned earlier there were about 2,000 buffalo moved this year by the Intertribal Buffalo Council to member tribes across the United States. Those are animals that are going to those tribes through the surplus program of ITBC.
Yeah, so how would you identify them as, what animal was there on, let's say, like Mitch's property? How would you identify that they're who owns those buffalo?
Well, for one, no one else has any buffalo. So it's pretty easy to know when, they're out of their enclosure.
Okay, so you know, do you brand all the calves and?
No tribe brands, no tribe anywhere across the country brands buffalo. That's not a practice that is commonly done for bison. There is, ear tagging and microchipping, that some tribes are doing. We are building out the handling, management, capacity in both enclosures. When we do release animals into that larger enclosure, we will microchip those animals so that we can monitor their distribution and movement. Because they're a herd animal, they stick together, so you put those chips in the lead females, and the herd is generally right near where that individual is, so you can see on the screen, where those animals are. So, there is some monitoring capability that we want to build in. You know, the animals that are brought in from different sources, generally will have an ear tag. We are not ear tagging them, just because ear tags are ugly. We're moving away from a livestock paradigm to thinking about restoring this animal more meaningfully on the landscape. That is the conservation paradigm ethic that we're trying to enhance and hold on to there. So individually identifying animals is less favorable for us, but monitoring distribution and movement is, because that's an ecological function. So instead of thinking that about management under the lens of agriculture and livestock, we're thinking more under the lens of biology and ecology and environmental science. We're storing this animal in the way that we are is more of a keystone species restoration of the animal. So individual identification is a bit outside of that paradigm.
Right now, we're a brucellosis free state. How will we control that with the buffalo? How are you gonna monitor it?
Well, we are a brucellosis free state because of the management of the Yellowstone bison. So there's a designated surveillance area for brucellosis. That's the western boundary of our reservation, and it circles the greater Yellowstone ecosystem. And it continues to expand primarily in Montana because of exposure of cattle to elk. Elk are the vector of brucellosis. There's never been a documented case of a buffalo giving a cow brucellosis. Never been documented. There's over 30 cases of elk giving cattle brucellosis, but elk can move freely across those boundaries that we create. So again, the buffalo that we brought in come from federally managed herds. Those are heavily monitored for brucellosis and other diseases which have to undergo rigorous state importation requirements. Every animal that we brought in to the reservation has gone through all of those state importation requirements. So we're bringing in certified disease-free animals to the reservation. There is no issue of disease, and in fact, the disease conversation goes both ways, because we're actually more concerned about Mycoplasma bulbus and malignant catarrhal fever, which are livestock diseases that are fatal to buffalo. And so that often isn't, there is no vaccination for Mycoplasma bulbus. So we don't move any buffalo in any trailers that ever had any cattle in them, because cattle are the vector for Mycoplasma bulbus. It's the same argument, but the goal is to minimize any disease altogether. And when the state vet, Hallie Hazel, came out to visit, her concern was people are going to say, what about brucellosis? And we know that because our animals are clean, that the only vector could be the elk. The Pat Henlica, the Fish and Wildlife Service biologist that worked closely with the tribes, as well as the tribal fish and game, We've only had 5 cases of brucellosis in the last 20 years on the reservation, but that's largely because of lack of data. Those cases were in the mountain ranges, the Wind Rivers and the Owl Creeks. It wasn't on the river bottom. And there is a population of elk that live in the river bottom. All of the cattle producers that are along the river bottom, among those elk, take their animals to the livestock yard and are tested for brucellosis. There's been no confirmation of any brucellosis ever along those river elk or cattle. But I've proposed that we put $50,000 to an elk study through the Tribal Buffalo Initiative to collar and understand a bit more about prevalence or lack thereof of brucellosis and anything else that's in the elk that are on the river. Fish and Wildlife Service doesn't have the money. The state of Wyoming doesn't have the money, but I can raise the money. So I say we proactively get an estimate and sample those elk that are on the river. Fish and Wildlife Service this last year got doged. We were very concerned that the field office for the Fish and Wildlife Service was going to be phased out of existence. A very important agency that has led to the prevalence of wildlife species that we have on the reservation. The reason why pronghorn antelope and bighorn sheep were brought back is because of this land or field office. The reason why we have fisheries the way we do it on the reservation, land or field office. So when that was threatened by Doge, that was a very big concern for us because we need their help. We need their assistance in implementing an elk brucellosis study. We need our tribal fish and game. We need that trust responsibility of the federal government to be fulfilled so that we can answer questions like that. But we're trying to be proactive in ensuring that we can alleviate any of those concerns.
Okay.
Well,
You run out of time?
yeah, we're
Yeah.
way out of time.
Okay.
Jason,
Sorry.
no, thank you for coming in. We'd like to invite you back
All right.
and we can continue this conversation. And just when you get free, maybe next month sometime, if you're free, get with Emma and get
Yeah.
on the agenda and we can have a visit.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you for your time.
Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
for coming in.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it. Okay. There's a lot of questions.
You have contact numbers right there, sure.
I do have a card I can give you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. Kyle. You guys need a quick break?
No, wait, I'm.
Can we take a 5-minute break?
Question for you.
All right, we're back in session.
Never mind.
Uh, Kyle,
Thank you, Commissioners, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today to talk about commercial air service and would be happy to answer questions and provide information. As part of that, I'm hoping it's okay with the commission to show a brief video. And if that's okay, I'll do that at this time.
please do.
Living right, it'll work. If I'm not, then we'll do something different.
You get it.
Give this a shot, Mr. Chairman.
It's connection.
I love the outdoor lifestyle in Wyoming. It's rural, it's rugged.
Commercial air service brings people ideas and opportunity to enrich, helping to sustain life and work across our communities.
I love our freedom, our independence, our ability to work, live, and play in our backyards. How awesome is that? I was told that we were the first business to move lock, stock, and barrel everything to Wyoming in about 20 years. It has been an absolute win-win for us to be here.
We love our independence, but we're also dependent on the industries that support our lifestyle. It's mining, it's energy, it's arts and culture, tourism, outdoor industries, and agriculture. And those industries are all affected by air service or lack of air service.
How to give it the air service in order to translate economic impact.
A mile of highway gets you a mile on the road, a mile of runway gets you a level.
It's a lifeline to us from a tourism perspective. It's a lifeline to us from a healthcare perspective. It's a lifeline to us from an economic development perspective and recruiting businesses to our area.
We just started construction, 70,000 square foot hospital north of Riverton, and we've just started to recruit physicians to our facility that will be open next year. One of the first questions that they ask us is do you have air service?
Worked for a number of years in upstate New York, and I was there during the time of the Gloucester commercial air service. And just the impact that had on the local community was palpable. You could feel it. It was something that would dominate the conversation.
It would be difficult to stay here if we didn't have air service. And if we left, that would be 250 jobs, $1.1 million a month into the economy for $1 million a month in rents and other services, $500,000 a year as a benefits to the local community and to its people. People in Wyoming are there. They need us. They need this stuff.
People ask me if the airport goes away, well, we can just make up that difference in economic impact. No.
The last time I drove to an out-of-state airport, it was well-intentioned. It was done with the thought that maybe I would save some money. What I didn't save was time.
Well, that's for the mineral well, so it was an easy choice for me to put some money towards having government involved. We needed to do it. It was the right thing. Look at all the benefits it's done for Wyoming.
Got a really strong air service program. And we've innovated on that over the years, and it's a national leading approach to how to make sure we've got good air service in rural communities. And so investing and continuing to invest in that program is really important for the businesses in the state. And I would just point out too that the businesses, the private sector invests in this same program.
Because of air service and for Wyoming, we bring in the ideal type of visitor. They come and eat in our restaurants, they stay in our hotels. They buy gear from our shops, they visit our outfitters. And when they're finished with their trip, they go home. So they do not add stress to the infrastructure. We don't need more schools. We don't need more housing.
Also, from a commercial standpoint, patients need to be transferred out of our hospital. If we don't provide the services here at our own hospital, they can be transferred to different locations like University of Utah, Cleveland Clinic, Mayo Clinic, other places. Without a healthy investment in service, we're not going to have a state.
If you took that resource air traffic away, which have been investigated and looked at through at least 3 governorships, that air service is essential to our economic growth and stability. We know that it's essential to how we do business now, and if you remove that and reconditioned everybody to do drive to Denver or Philly to Rapid City or Salt Lake, getting people reaccustomed to doing it would take years.
There's all that referral patterns and where people are used to going for healthcare. You lose doctors with the ability to get those locals in there, you're gonna lose those referral patterns, and then it just makes it harder and harder to look forward to be profitable as possible.
I can't tell you how much street credit we get with our customers, with them being able to fly right into town here to see what we do. And then on the flip side of that, I'm able to go and fly around the country to visit our customers.
Service is good for all the people in Wyoming, whether we fly or not, because it grows jobs. That's why we were able to become a local company, is flying out.
Air service is something we gotta have here, 21st century.
Nothing beats the Wyoming way of life, and air service is critical to that way of life.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for running the show.
I just read where Gillette is not, United is not asked for a guaranteed revenue for them.
Mr. Chairman, that is correct.
Yeah. What's their employment numbers?
I don't have that number offhand, but I'd be happy to look into that and follow up with you.
Was just curious.
At this point, I'll just stop sharing my screen. Maybe I can and show you a few things. So, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you about air service. You're one of the first groups to see that video. That was something that the Wyoming Airports Coalition put together with many business entities across the state of Wyoming and then other community leaders. As you know, we participate in the capacity purchase program that's offered through the state of Wyoming, and it has been successful for our community. And I can share some numbers that help show that success. We just finished calendar year 2025. And for that calendar year, we had 25,775 people fly out of Central Wyoming Regional Airport. Let me put that in perspective. 10 years ago in 2015, for the entire year, we had 3,525 people fly out of Central Wyoming Regional Airport, or at the time, Riverton Regional Airport. Now, if you remember, in 2015, the air service provider was Great Lakes Airlines, and were plagued with several challenges that disrupted market confidence. And I appreciate that it was something that many of our community members experienced, and you, Commissioner, did as well. And it showed in the numbers. Fortunately, with your hard work and other hard work of many in the community, we were able to reverse that trend. That trend does require investment. So as we look back 10 years ago, when we did have Great Lakes Airlines, there was not a contract to provide a service guarantee to that airline. And we see the results because of that. At the peak of Great Lakes Airlines service, this was in 2008, they enplaned 16,847 people. So I'm happy to report that 2025 was a banner year for commercial air service and connectivity. I believe that the market confidence that was lost 10 years ago has regained, and we have several entities, whether they be businesses, nonprofits, government entities that utilize our local airport, but we also have several families and individuals that utilize it for a quality of life purpose, and it shows in the numbers. As an anecdote and as an aside, I honestly never thought that we would surpass 20,000 employments in a year, and we blew past it at 25 in 2025. You'll notice on the screen, these trend lines show the year-over-year employments from when we started shortly with SkyWest, and as you see it today. To provide a little bit more of a historical look, and I know you as a commission have seen this graph before, but I think it's important to always provide an update on it. We see there in 2015 where commercial air service was really about to exit our market because the market confidence was lost. We brought in a new air service provider. Immediately it rebounded, and then we were around the 8,000, 7,000 employment mark for several years with Denver Air Connection. SkyWest began, and immediately we saw improved performance and market confidence, and then we saw that decline sharply because of the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. You'll notice that we have a few peaks and troughs as we've gained ground after COVID-19. The one I want to highlight there is the loss of the second daily flight for a period. We did not have that service, and that was because of the impacts nationwide on the air service industry. But you'll notice with the return of the second daily flight, we are at levels that we really haven't seen at Central Wyoming Regional Airport. This graph depicts over 20 years of employment numbers, and you'll notice that the numbers show that we do have people in Fremont County utilizing the airport and relying on the airport. A few points that I know you're aware of, so I'll touch on them briefly, but we're able to see this success because we participate in the state's capacity purchase program. That program really began from Senate File 40 in 2018. From that, a 10-year plan was proposed to improve air service across several markets, ours being one, Rock Springs being another, Sheridan and Gillette, rounding it out with those 4 communities. With that 10-year plan, the legislature created the Wyoming Commercial Air Service Investment Account, and they funded it at $15 million. That is important because the air service that we receive in Fremont County is supported by the state of Wyoming to the tune of 60% of the cost for the service contract. We as a local community are required to take 40% to match basically the state's investment in the contract that it has with SkyWest Airlines. While it does take investment, we are seeing a return on that investment, not just in ridership, but in economic activity. And I hope that was shown in the video that I was able to just display to you. As we're moving forward, and I won't spend too much time on how the service contract is calculated, but I want to get into the numbers and then respond to your questions. When the capacity purchase program was first established with the state of Wyoming, it was a potential 10-year contract with SkyWest Airlines. We as a community have had opportunity to opt into that contract. We are now in the 7th year, in the 6th year. We're just into a new year, and I'm already mixing up the times. But we're in fiscal year 26, and we're in the 6th year, potentially 10 years of an agreement with SkyWest Airlines. I want to bring up that the total contract to ensure that we have SkyWest Airlines provide service in Fremont County is just over $4.4 million. Because of the investment of the state of Wyoming, 2.6 of that is covered by them, and then we as a community need to make up the 40% share. These are budget estimates that we put into a contract, and I should say the state of Wyoming with their consultant worked with SkyWest to put into a contract, and we have agreed to opt into that through an MOU. The local share is projected over these next 4 years. You'll see anywhere between roughly 1.8 million to a little over 1.95 million. In order to cover that, For several years, as you know, we were able to utilize the proceeds of the optional economic development tax. With the defeat of that tax, we do need to look forward to alternative solutions to cover that 40% component. And I wanted to mention also, maybe before I go into what we have right now as far as available funds and then future needs. What you're seeing on this slide is the contract price to secure an airline in Fremont County. The true cost for this airline to fly into Central Wyoming Regional Airport is over $10 million. It generates obviously revenue of its own accord. It generates about 55% of the revenue that's required to offset the cost to provide service in our rural market. So 10 million up to about 10.5 is what it takes to bring in an airline the caliber of SkyWest into our county. Our community is able to cover about 55% of that cost. And so when we're looking at these numbers here, it's the difference. And this is what we have in our service contract to entice an airline into a rural regional market, but also ensure that there's staying power. These, again, are budget numbers. We are invoiced and we pay off of actuals, but we do prepare. We don't fly by the seat of our pants on this. We do a very thorough job in ensuring that we project estimates. So I think that the real question that I imagine the commission wants to get to, especially after the discussion last month as it relates to the work of the FCAG committee, is where are we going and what funding sources are available. Fortunately, because of the optional 0.5% tax, there is a fund balance or a reserve that is held with the city of Riverton. As of December 5th, the last time I ran an analysis was we were sitting in a separate account for air service at roughly $2 million. 100,000 of that goes towards our marketing efforts. So unrestricted, roughly a month ago, there was 1.9 million available to cover the obligation of the 40% component of that service contract. As we project forward future costs, we're looking at ending this fiscal year with roughly $500,000 available still on that reserve account. If we project that forward into next fiscal year, and you kind of see in that bar graph that we will exhaust our current reserve or fund balance right after first quarter of the fiscal year. So in order to maintain the air service that we currently have, we do need to look at opportunities for revenue to pay for our service contract. I know that there are committees that are working towards it and have proposed solutions. If those solutions don't come into play, then the governments or the businesses or some other alternative source would have to cover that 40% requirement. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to maintain our participation in the capacity purchase program. I know I went through that a little bit quickly, but I hope that that covered some of the questions you had at the start, and I'd be happy to stand for other questions as you may have them.
So the county has some funding left over from the optional or 0.5-cent economic tax, if you will. How about Riverlander? What about the other municipalities? Do they have somewhat of a surplus?
Mr. Chairman, that's a great question. The City of Riverton does not. They have already obligated all of the funds that were generated from the defeated tax. The City Council, almost a year ago, with the City of Riverton, obligated their unspent funds at that point towards the commercial air service project. I believe the City of Lander is still working through its decision on how to spend their funds that they are holding right now that they haven't obligated at this point. And if I may, I appreciate that you bring that up because if our current funds are exhausted in the first quarter of next fiscal year, and if another tax initiative comes forward, and if it's supported by the people of this county, the earliest that we would receive funds from that tax is probably in March or April 27. So you have almost a 2-quarter gap, where funds would need to be secured even to get to that proposed potential solution. And so, yes, maybe working with the, government entities that still have funds that are unobligated from the defeated 0.5% tax could serve to bridge that, time span.
So you have expenditures of how much every quarter? The 500. So say if we blow through the money for the guaranteed revenue fund in August of next year, of this year, excuse me. How much money will we need to finish out until we start getting revenues if the economic tax would go through?
Great, Mr. Chairman, thank you for that question. I believe that's a good one. We're invoiced every quarter and it's roughly 400,000. And again, that's based off of the projections we have. We are invoiced on actuals. Right now, our load factor is roughly 70 to 75% of the aircraft.
So you would need about, well, $600,000 to get it through. Just off my head.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, yeah, give or take, I think that's
Right.
a pretty good estimate, 600 to 800,000. Obviously, we want to maintain the service level that we have because we have individuals that have already booked flights for those periods because that market confidence is there. If we're unable to meet our financial obligations of service contract, we can explore reducing service levels with SkyWest, but those are all things that would have to be explored with the Fremont Air Service team and the governing bodies.
Question.
Mr. Chair, but you, even if we carry over here, we still get that money back, for the federal government, was what, 1.3 million for runways and tarmacs and.
We don't get that back. It's just airport improvements.
Right, but it still comes back to the county
Yeah.
in form of a asset, if you would, right?
I think if you reach your 10,000 passenger employment, you get $1 million. So it was, I don't know if it's still the same.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, that is correct. The FAA does regulate air service and travel, and I think that's a good thing because you're flying a metal object with wings several thousand feet in the air, so it's probably a good thing to ensure that it's safe. Fortunately, the federal government does provide a grant source to offset the cost of ensuring your airfield is meeting standards. And when you are dealing with commercial air service and the number of passengers involved in that, the federal government has said if you have 10,000 or more employments a year, you have a right to grants of up to now 1.3 million to improve runways and aprons and other safety related items.
And if we don't do it, then we lose out on that too. The improvements.
Well, in 2020, we did lose.
We lost everything.
In fact, it was more than 1 year, correct?
Yeah.
But I thought once you lose it, you can't get back in. Is that correct, Kyle?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, and I believe we're probably talking about two different concepts here. I believe it's a true statement that once you lose commercial air service, and maybe more importantly, your airport is deregulated by the Transportation Security Administration or TSA, it is very challenging to have them come back to your airport. It's possible, but it's very challenging. And once you lose TSA and the ability to screen passengers and you deregulate your airport, then it's very likely you're obviously not going to maintain the 10,000 employment threshold that then brings in funds to maintain the airfield. And those funds are matched, and currently the city of Riverton covers the match for those infrastructure improvements.
So I guess maybe the next thing we need to be waiting for is the verbiage on a potential economic tax ballot question.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I know the group is going to be meeting tomorrow as far as the committee for funding key services in Fremont County. There's a draft MOU that the committee will work on and propose to FCAG and obviously the governing bodies. There's some draft language that is already in place as far as the ballot language, so that committee will work on that and bring it back to you.
Kyle, appreciate all your work on this. I know some of our flights, because have increased passengers, Casper did not pass their tax there, which helped them on their expenses, the things that we did with Tuesday and so forth and so on. So I know a lot about Casper. There's a lot of repeat and a lot of people fly back and forth. Passengers on that. So there's a lot of business stuff that goes on. And then the state that comes under YDOT, correct? All of that 2.6 from the state comes out of the YDOT. Okay, my concerns are legislation that might disrupt prior to what we anticipate going on this year.
Yeah.
That's a biggie.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, if I could, you'll notice on the previous screen, there's two arrows that note when funds will be exhausted. That account that was established that I mentioned that was funded to 15 million, and then it's had some infusions of cash over the last several years. It will exhaust at the end of this fiscal year. Right now, the Department of Transportation has put forth a budget request for the legislature to consider. The governor has included that exception request in his budget proposal. It's 18.4 million to basically replenish that capacity purchase account. This morning, the Joint Appropriations Committee heard testimony from the travel and tourism entity with the state, and some of the funds of that 18.4 are coming from the travel and tourism budget, about 15 million of the 18.4. So appropriations is considering that request currently. We're working with our elected officials to just provide information as they decide if they're going to replenish that account.
So tourism, Office of Tourism, the last I heard was they had over $40 million in their cash reserve. And the reason I knew that was because I'm on the Search and Rescue Council. We tried to get them to give us some funding. You know, search and rescue is mandated, but it's not mandated funding. So we were trying to get some money so we could have like a $3 million cash reserve. Just because if we have one, I mean, we have one major event, we're broke.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're the whole state. And we tried to get some from tourism board, and they totally threw a fit about it. But now maybe of course they probably got a little bigger fish in the game with air service. What about Laramie and Rock Springs? Are they continuing to stay up, or?
Mr. Chairman, as it relates to the 4 airports that were part of the capacity purchase program, Rock Springs and Riverton are performing very well. And they're somewhat similar in how they're performing in their communities. Sheridan has definitely done well and has advanced far beyond what they used to do when we partnered with Sheridan.
Right.
It's been great to see their success. And as you had mentioned, Gillette has had such success that the air service provider is willing to fly at risk without a contract in their community. That being said, with the exit of Gillette from the program, the Cheyenne Airport will not enter the program, so there will still be 4 airports that draw on that capacity purchase account and program.
It will just swap from Cheyenne and Gillette. But I'm happy to report that each of the airports participating in that program have seen success and have seen the improvements that I was able to show you as well. Basically, that return of market confidence. As it relates to Laramie, they are also seeing success, but they participate in a federal program to offset the service contract for air service. Cody also participates in a federal program for that. The Airport of Jackson is performing very well, and they participate in another state program called the Air Service Enhancement Program. As it was mentioned, Casper Natura International Airport. Again, I want all of these airports in the state to succeed. They're seeing some success, though roughly a year ago, they chose to, as a community, not continue one of their routes to Salt Lake because of the service contract and minimum revenue guarantee component of that. So they did exit, I guess, from that market, but they were able to maintain several of their other flights and see success there.
That benefited the airport, county airport.
Yes.
Because you've seen increased numbers. No parking spots hardly. It's getting pretty full.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioner, yes, I love having the problem of not having enough parking up there. And I truly do want each of the airports to succeed. If anything, what we've done here in Fremont County is just recapture our market. I'm not really looking to steal Casper's market or Rock Springs market. I just want Fremont County's market and our adjoining counties that don't have commercial air service to succeed in. And we've done that. Roughly 8 to 10 years ago, we were told the potential of flyers in our counties is roughly around 24,000. I think through some hard work and through support of elected officials like you, we've seen that recapture.
Well, it's important work. It's important that we keep the airport alive, because the amount of money that you need, that's
It's a lot of
big
money.
question there, how much the committee is meeting today, right?
Tomorrow.
So do we need to do anything there, to help out there? Is it 60/40 that they're gonna be talking about tomorrow?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
It's okay, Commissioner. I believe the committee tomorrow is going to be looking at a more of a macro sense at the core three services that were discussed previously with you, the ambulance service, air service, and then also ground transportation. But as it discusses air service, yes, it will be discussing that 40% component that we would need to match to the state's 60%.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I know we've had this discussion up 10 times, but I still feel like, this is critical to businesses. And businesses need to be involved. They need to be covered. They depend on some tax dollars coming out of us, which we may not have. So they need to step up. And they promised before to do that and didn't. So I think, to be more self-sustainable, so we could hold our own and not sit there and every year we go, or we're at each other because we want money, we're trying to pull and push and pull and push, and we don't have it. And things aren't looking any better, right, in my eyes, to some of the discussions I've heard. Not through FK, but we need to look at maybe some individualism of people's choices and how they want to do that. But I think businesses, myself, we've got a lot of people I know every week is flying. So why are they not wanting to step up and be sponsors to help this? That's my beef.
Anything else?
Mr. Chair, Kyle, when we go for this 1 cent, I guess it's 1 cent, will be coming out for this next year in the election. I guess. The role that this board and the Fremont County Association of Governments, I would like to see work the numbers together with yourself, with the ambulance director, and with the buses. I don't wanna see a lot of offline board stuff. I don't wanna see a committee that has a committee that has an advisory committee that has another committee. To get what we can figure out right here. Just sitting down with you and Tim and Diana about how to divide the pie. And we need that economic development here, there's no doubt. But we don't want to get, I personally don't want to get off in the weeds with these offline boards and committees that we have to listen to. That come up with some of the wildest stuff that we can't imagine. If somebody goes and gets a grant, for example, they go out and they find a grant, but we don't have the money to match a grant. That's something we need to do up front before we ever
Yeah.
say, hey, go get a grant. We need to know that our budget will support that grant. So that's the kind of stuff that I think that we could get from you and the other directors to come and sit down with us in the Fremont County Association of Governments and figure that small stuff out right here. And it's a lot quicker than, well, let's wait for a committee that has an advisory advice and so on and so forth. I would rather just see 3 people, you know, if it's Kimberly or you, or any of the directors come before us, and we sit down and we figure out how this pie is gonna be divided, because it's needed. The ambulance is needed. Nobody's trusted that we don't need an ambulance. So that's my input on that. I don't know how the others feel about it, but
Too many chefs in the soup.
yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Kyle. We'll wait to hear how that's gonna go, and then we will see what transpires of it and see what each community or municipality can contribute. We'll go from there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. It's
Thank
always
you
nice
very
to be
much.
with you. I appreciate it.
Sorry to make you wait.
Fine.
Got us on your list.
Thank you.
Thank you. Micah. Sorry to keep you waiting. No worries.
Thank you for seeing me. On the flip side of that statement.
Thank you for waiting.
Oh, that's my pleasure. You guys got to talk about some buffalo today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good to see him here. Well, Commission, Mr. Chairman, I'm here to ask for permission to hire another person in my office. This is as a result of resignation in the Riverton office of the deputy county attorney, and we really need to fill that spot. I think my request is up to his current salary, but it's my full intent to hire somebody below that, probably about $10,000 below that. I think that's more concomitant with where we sit budgetarily at this point in time. But I'm asking for the full request because that's what we were budgeted for. So.
Okay.
Effective immediately.
It would be, yeah. I do have some potentials that I'm gonna call as soon as I get the okay.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, well,
Any
been working hard on trying to establish those lines.
Good.
Yes, you have done.
It's kind of like trying to draw water out of an empty oil well, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Yep.
right.
Questions?
No, not for me, Mr. Chairman. I move to allow the retirement position title Deputy Prosecuting Fremont County Attorney, not to exceed the amount of $97,000.
Second. Been moved and seconded to approve the rehiring and filling the position of Deputy Prosecuting County Attorney. Full-time benefited position, salary range not to exceed 97,000. Further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you. That was
There,
quick.
Commission, thank you.
Should have got you in quicker.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mind waiting.
Well, I appreciate
I
it.
liked watching that air travel video anyhow.
Yeah.
Support stuff. Thank you, folks.
Okay.
Lance. We'll get you through here, let you. All right, receipt.
Good morning, board. How y'all doing today?
Good, how are you?
We are making just barely
Good.
So one of the things I'm here to is request permission to advertise for my assistant position.
Wait,
It's been emptied now for, I guess, 3 months, 2 months, 2 or 3 months. So I'd like to advertise for that role.
would we just, IT assistant or ISS assistant, or would it be admin?
Probably an ISS assistant.
Okay. And the salary range?
It would be stay the same as what Trudy had before, which I don't have off my head.
Or if I bring this 41,051, I think she was making 48.
48.
48,800.
Commissioners got questions? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve this request to hire assistant ISS. What would you say it was?
Assistant.
Assistant at 48,000.
Yeah. Up to 48.
Up to 48.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve hiring an ISS assistant. Salary range up to 48,800. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
I thank y'all very much.
Yep.
Other than that, it's been interesting, onboarding and getting up to speed. I'm still trying to find my way.
Yeah.
It's a lot of moving pieces, but,
Yeah, like a million.
yes, ma'am.
Are you, did you get your car fixed? No?
My Jeep was totaled in the wreck.
Oh, man.
So I've, since I've moved to Lander, I'm living here in Lander now, so I'm within walking distance, so.
Oh.
I will do that for a few months until I get things. I'm
Straight
still,
away.
still trying to catch up on previous bills, so,
Yeah,
but I'll get things checked out.
Okay.
So
so the big bit moving.
the other thing is that, from a organization standpoint, is there anything particularly you would like me to focus on IT wise?
I haven't heard anything, any concerns. Julie?
Mr. Chairman, I suggested he come talk to you. He's been here a month and he's asked me a couple questions and I said, why don't you ask them if they have things that they've heard or want to have
I
worked on? And I just thought it'd be good for him to tell you what he's been doing.
I haven't heard anything that,
He's been doing good.
Mhm.
He does have some great ideas. They're gonna be a little bit different. And so that's why I said for him to just start telling you
Yeah.
how he feels about things and figure if that's where you want him to head. So I just thought maybe for the next couple of months, he could come in on a monthly basis.
Yeah,
just
that'd
kinda
be
give
Yeah,
him an update,
great.
let him tell you maybe some changes that'd be different in how he thinks
Mm-hmm.
about things. So
Mhm.
sorry,
Different
I'm jumping right in there for you, Lance, but
No, you're welcome to come up here.
communication is good.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
So, Mr.
Yes.
So I'm sure there was a priority list. I'm sure you'll have to go back down that and reevaluate. And maintenance is probably your closest
Yes, ma'am.
buddy to figure out a lot of this stuff.
Well, right now I'm trying to gain access to some of the servers and stuff. I didn't have a large turnover time with Kevin.
Mhm.
So there was quite a bit missed.
Mhm.
So I'm still trying to gain access and figure out some things,
Okay.
but, there's nothing burning out of control right now. It's mostly just one, okay, how do I get into this?
Well, hopefully you can find a good assistant that will help you.
And
Tim.
are you still able to use traveling computers?
Yes.
Or do you?
Yes. So Dean has been very helpful, especially with systems. I'm like, hey, how do I get in? Where's the door for this? Oh, damn. He's been very, very helpful for a lot of that.
Yeah.
Just a lot of different pieces and, so there's still things that I need to get access to, and gain access to. This, as a county, we're not using 365. We don't, but we have a, uncommon mail server. that we also use the Google Suite over in the attorney's office. So there's a mixture of, so that makes things a little more complicated because everything's not interconnected. So, you know, if we hire someone, I may have to set up 3 or 4 separate passwords instead of just, okay, here's your password. So it's a little different organization. So
Then are you having to deal at all with the IT for the sheriff's office?
not much, honestly. We've communicated back and forth a few times with, you know, badges and those sort of things, but no real issues with the sheriff's department. They handle their own and I haven't had to deal with it much, to be honest with you. So
Okay. It's like overwhelming, I'm sure.
there are days it's very overwhelming. Other days,
Thanks.
there are days it's overwhelming where it's like, things just, the phone will stop ringing for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
There's other days it's just like,
Yeah,
Yeah. Is it-
Murphy's Law,
Is
though.
it Sunday?
right.
Yeah.
Murphy's Law, everybody's at the checkout lane at the same time.
Is your family coming soon?
You know, I really don't know, to be honest with you. We have a lot of things going. My my oldest daughter's in college there, so she'll be staying there. My middle child wants to come. She's actually very eager to come here because she's actually wanting to come to college here in Wyoming. There's a WyoTech.
Oh, yeah.
So and I'm still learning some of the things. And I have to apologize, but that's where she wants to go to school. WyoTech. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So then my youngest son, he's like, whatever, he doesn't care.
Whatever happens.
That WyoTech is really something. It used to be a real going concern. I mean, it was nationwide known. And then the people that were running it left and somebody took it over and then it kind of backtracked a little bit and it wasn't so highly regarded, but then folks originally that started came back and now it's
going good.
yeah, right, it's going really.
And that's what I've heard. And I haven't done a lot of research on it, but it's what I'm hearing. So
Okay, anything else? Well, thank you for waiting. Appreciate it. And you need anything, come back down. We'll see you next month.
sounds good.
If not
Okay.
sooner.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good one. Happy New Year.
With that, we will take a break and be back at 1:30.